Warm welcome to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Aisha Khan and I will be your other host for this evening. I would now like to take this opportunity to welcome the esteemed principal of HR College, Dr. Pooja Ramchandani ma'am, and the very admirable Dr. Sunita Shirvalkar ma'am, principal of SIWS College. Today's session would not have been possible without the constant support of Dr. Naveen Punjabi, Vice Principal of HR College BCom Department, Dr. Jasbir Sodhi, IQAC Coordinator and Vice Principal of HR College, Dr. Rani Tyagi ma'am, Chairperson of Examination and Vice Principal of HR College, Mr. Vaibhav Vanjan, IQAC Coordinator and Vice Principal of SIWS College Commerce, Ms. Neeta Khanlonkar, Vice Principal of SIWS College Science, Mr. Ayyappan Iyer, Vice Principal of SIWS College Self-Finance Courses. We thank you all.
I would also like to extend my warm welcome to the faculty and the participants who have joined this workshop. I now invite Dr. Geeta Sahu ma'am to outline the objectives and the proposed outcome of this workshop. Over to you, Geeta ma'am.
Good evening, everyone, the principals of both the colleges, vice principals, and my dear participant friends. Last year, an MOU was signed by the principals of both the colleges with the intention to enable the English departments of both the colleges to conduct meaningful sessions and events for students as well as for teachers. Accordingly, last year we had conducted 3 sessions for students, and this year we decided to conduct a session for teachers. So this workshop, which is titled Research Requisites Workshop for Teachers, I would like to communicate the outcomes for this 2-day workshop, which is to know the different types of publications, to familiarize teachers with reputed journals, to find the right fit in open access journals, to understand the review process in academic journals, to overcome challenges faced while submitting research papers, knowing how teachers can improve the visibility for research in the changing scenario, know the types of journal indexing, understanding the MLA 9 citation guidelines, and to enable participants to correctly apply principles of citations in their own thesis, articles, as well as to impart the same to their students. So keeping in mind journal publications, especially care-listed journal publications, which is very important, not just for the CAS promotions of teachers, but also from the point of view of NAC. We have this 2-day workshop, and I would like to welcome everyone for this workshop. With this bit of an introduction, I would like to hand over this session to my colleague, Dr. Paramita Chakravarti, who would introduce the principal of HR College.
Thank you, Dr. Geeta. I would like to first congratulate both the colleges and the English departments for taking this initiative. I think it's a very timely workshop because most of the teachers right now are busy preparing for CAS. And I think this workshop is going to help them a lot in understanding where they should publish and how. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our beloved principal, Dr. Pooja Ramchandani. I think we're very fortunate to have her at the helm of affairs, and I take special delight in introducing her today. So Dr. Pooja Ramchandani has been appointed as the principal in charge of HR College from 10th July 2022, and then she became a full-fledged principal since January 2022. She has recently been designated as professor. She was the vice principal degree college since July 2016 and has been associated with the college as faculty in the Department of Commerce since last 20 years, in fact 21 years. She has actively worked towards the growth and development of the college by working in this institution for more than 2 decades, heading the Department of Commerce and also as a member of the BOS in business management. She has taught varied subjects such as marketing, human resource management, principles of marketing, marketing research, organizational behavior, and many other business papers. I think it is very important to mention that she has been honored with a D.Lit for her contribution in the field of education. and has been recognized as a PhD guide in the subject of commerce from University of Mumbai and subsequently from HSNCU. She has been appointed as Dean of Commerce and Management under HSNC University. To her credit, she has not just been a very able administrator, but she has also been very involved with students and student activities. To her credit, she started many student associations and mentored associations such as, General Event Management Society, Young Leaders Club, Sindhi Sangat, Flames, among many others. She also initiated the parent lecture series in HR College and has played a key role in starting of the Entrepreneurship and Incubation Center. So Dr. Pooja Ramchandani is a firm believer in hard work, and she thinks that there is absolutely no alternative to hard work. Her motto in life is to create responsible student leaders who will bring positive change in the society. She is herself a symbol of hard work, determination, and excellence. And she wants to pass on all these values to us as well as to her students. I think we are extremely glad that Dr. Pooja Ramchandani has been our principal for the last 2 years. And I think what really sets her apart is her democratic, values and her compassion. With this, I would actually invite Dr. Pooja Ramchandani now, our beloved principal, to share a few words and officially, we can start the workshop with the principal's address, hers and the other principal, SIWS principal. Thank you so much. Dr. Pooja Ramchandani, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Paramita, for your kind words. My apologies for my throat, not well. Warm welcome to my colleague principal, Dr. Sunita from SIWS College. And also a warm welcome to Dr. Suman, who's going to take this session for next 2 hours for our teacher faculty. I must thank the entire department headed by Dr. Paramita and supported by Dr. Geeta Sahu. Both have been key supporters of upgradation of faculty. And today we see the Department of English undertaking under MOU that we signed with SIWS College, which was their own initiative last year. We could do many activities under that MOU, and this year they decided to do a session or start with this season with the faculty. As Dr. Geeta heads Criteria 3 of NAC, she knows the pain of collecting information of research from teachers. And we realize that how NAC has been very difficult with this criteria of research that teachers do. It is necessary for teachers to understand that publishing is easy, but publishing at right place, as per the requirements of promotions, as per requirements of NAC, is not that easy. It requires publications in certain areas, in certain journals, in certain places, which is not easily available if people think so. That's why the entire 2-day workshop has been created by both the college's English department. And I'm glad that both the colleges have taken this initiative of understanding how publishing industry works, where all teachers can publish their research work. And tomorrow they are going to look at citations, a particular style which is new. There's a need for teachers to understand that it's not just necessary to publish, but publish with right citations and right source styling. So that there I congratulate both the departments, and also wishing these 2-day workshop to both the departments of English and IQAC of both the colleges, and to my dear brand ambassadors who are supporting the HR college webinar, these 2-day workshops. So hearty congratulations to both the departments, and wishing that teachers and students will take something knowledgeable, something from these 2 days. And also special thanks to Dr. Suman for today's session. And I'm sure we hear her out. We will take many important informations after the session is over. So wishing my best luck and warm welcome to all the participants at this particular webinar, and congratulating once again both the departments from both the colleges and the IQAC of both the colleges. Thank you so much. Over to Dr. Geeta.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pooja Ramchandani, ma'am. We are so elated to have you here with us. I would now like to invite Dr. Kirti Nakhre to give the welcome address.
Thank you so much, Zahra. Thank you, Geeta. Hello, Pooja, ma'am. It's an honor to be associated with an institution, an esteemed institution like HR College and the HSNC University. I'm very pleased to introduce our in-charge principal, Dr. Sunita Shirvalkar, who has 3 decades of teaching experience to support her. She has been head of the chemistry department of our college. She is the head of the chemistry department, along with having taken charge as in-charge principal of our college for quite some time now. And I must say that our college has been re-accredited with the A grade under her able leadership. Thank you, Sunita ma'am, for having steered us towards this A grade of ours. A very calm, kind, and considerate individual. Dr. Sunita ma'am is very accomplished. She is a paper setter, a member of syllabus committee for FY, SY, and the TY BSc. She has several publications to her credit. She has presented papers at national and international, on national and international forums. And besides that, she is also a yoga teacher and a therapist, a naturopath. She reads and she travels in her spare time. I extend a very warm welcome to you, Dr. Sunita Shirvalkar. I request you, ma'am, to share your views on this collaboration of ours and specifically on today's, the event that we are hosting today. Over to you, Sunita ma'am.
Thank you, Kirti, for this wonderful introduction of mine. It is to start with, a good evening to each and everyone. I'm very proud to be associated with HR College. For our MOU, simple reason, I was a student of KC College, so my feelings lie from there. Right from 1990s, 87 or early 80s, I was associated with KC. I did my MSc there, then moved on to do my PhD under Dr. Kiran Mangalkar. But those are old memories. So when Kirti told me that we are having this webinar today, and that too with HR College, and our MOU with you is very, very good, and that really made me happy. To begin with, let me congratulate the Department of English of HR and our English Literary Association of SIWS for organizing this 2-day workshop. We have entered an MOU with HSNC University in August 2021, with which we organized a 3-day workshop last year in September 2021. This was something very, very good for us as well as for HR College, where we could exchange our ideas and share a same platform. And it was very effective. And we are also looking forward for many such interactions in the near future. This particular workshop organized now for 2 days is a wonderful idea. And the simple reason is, at least when we were young a few years back, many years back, 20, 25 years, we would not know where to share our, publish our work. It was like, we may just end up publishing our work anywhere without any understanding. And then that really caused lots of problems because it was not accountable. It was not taken into CAS as well as for NAC as well. So the impact factor of the journal, as rightly put by Pooja Ramchandani ma'am, and everything, all these things matter a lot. So this particular workshop of 2 days, wherein we have Dr. Suman Mundul ma'am, who's going to talk on understanding the publishing processes. Then Dr. Nilakshi Roy tomorrow on MLA9 and overview. I'm sure it is going to help all the participants who are present here, all the teachers as well as young students. And thank you for this wonderful program that you've arranged. And I wish all the best to both HR College as well as my college, Kirti Nakri, for organizing this. And I hope it is a success.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sunita ma'am. Thank you, Pooja ma'am.
I would now request Kirti ma'am to introduce the speaker.
Thank you, Zehra, once again. Today we have a veteran of sorts. We have with us Dr. Suman Munkur. The session that she is going to conduct today is going to be related to publishing, the publishing process. She has authored a book titled Zeroing In on a Research Topic, Resources and Strategies for Selecting and Narrowing Down a Topic, which is available on Amazon. She is a research consultant, academic research. She runs her own academic research consultancy service that provides research and publication assistance to students, researchers, academicians, and lifelong learners. She's a visiting faculty for MTech students at ICT Mumbai. She delivers lectures at MIT University, National Institute of Fashion Technology, Mumbai, and she also conducts webinars. She has retired after 29 years of teaching experience as associate professor at the Department of Textiles and Apparel Designing, SNDT University, Home Science Autonomous University, Juhu, Mumbai. She was awarded for excellence in research category, science and technology from Maharashtra at the 5th Faculty Branding Awards at Kolkata in July 2017. She was felicitated by Canara Bank in March 2018 for her contribution to textile industry. She has received the Women Researcher Award from REST Society for Research International in June 2020. She was felicitated by Canara Saraswat Association on 26 November 2020. She was recognized as Researcher Life Ambassador of the month, December 2021. She's the Researcher Life Ambassador India for Cactus Communication, Seattle, USA. She is the governing body member of Indian Fiber Society, member of Textile Association India and Textile Institute Manchester. Also part of the Alumni Association of Faculty of Family and Community Science, MS University, Baroda. Executive member, Alumni Association of SVT College of Home Science, SNDT Women's University. She holds a PhD from Mumbai University. Also a diploma in higher education, diploma in international trade management from NMIMS University, and diploma in advanced textile design from Rachana Sansad. She reviews papers for journals. She has 36 publications to her credit. She has presented research papers at national and international conferences at Melbourne, Istanbul, and Brunei. I'm so glad to have you with us, Dr. Suman Munkur, and I'm very happy that you readily agreed to be part of this workshop. Thank you, and I extend a very warm welcome to you, Dr. Suman Munkur.
Thank you so much.
The stage is all yours now.
Thank you.
Just a second, Suman ma'am. Before we can proceed with the session, can we please have a small photograph? I request everybody to switch on their cameras. IT department. I hope you've got all that you need. The stage is yours, ma'am.
I think I need to share, and I will want the host to allow my screen sharing. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Pooja, Professor Pooja Ramchandani and Dr. Sunita Shirvalkar. I was very impressed with your introduction, and I'm so happy to be associated with both the colleges. And I look forward to this, contributing in whatever way I can. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
I'm really privileged to present for HR College of Commerce and Economics, SIWS, NR Swami College of Commerce, and Srimati Thirumalai College of Science. And understanding the research process is something that is a constant learning for any academician. And thank you for the introduction. I have already been introduced, and if the academic research is part of our teaching, I think research and teaching go hand in hand, and it is nothing but a systematic investigation into a problem or a situation where the intention is to identify facts and or opinions that will assist in solving the problem or dealing with the situation. So any academic publishing, I think the first priority that is given is to journal articles. Of course, you may have your dissertation or your thesis, or you may be writing chapters in books, or you may be authoring a whole book. And whatever the publication is, it goes through these series of steps, and each time, every time. So in journal publishing, you start with a topic that you have selected, or somebody has offered you a project, and that's when you may find that you need to work on this literature survey. You go through a lot of databases, and the first problem that I faced was selecting a topic. It took me a lot of time finalizing a topic for my PhD. And I realized how the struggle is. There are many who want to do PhD, but they don't know where to begin. They want to publish a paper, don't know where to begin. And that's how the book that I wrote also has a database of literature where it can be found. Second challenge that is faced is literature review. You may be able to get the literature review, but you don't know how to put it. Of course, I'm speaking to not to students, but I'm speaking to a group of teachers who may be in the beginning of their career or mid-career. So you are well versed with these steps, and today's discussion is more to do with the latter part of these steps. So organizing, I would begin with finding a journal first. Where do I publish a journal? And then begin my research. Because as you are surveying your literature, you come across so many journal articles. That's the best time to know which journal may accept my research. Did somebody say something? However, this is a workshop, it's not a lecture. So if you have any query, you're free to please stop, unmute and ask. And let your difficulties not be carried forward till the last slide. You don't have to wait. So let it be interactive, I do not mind. So organizing a reference list has to start from the beginning, and then you select a journal for publication. Now, when you say selecting a journal, we at least narrow down a few journals or list down a few journals who may accept. That is very well in your reference. If you see your reference list, you have journals who have accepted similar articles or maybe related articles. So quite likely that this is the starting point for anybody, that they are likely to accept your paper. So writing a paper as per guidelines of any journal is very, very important, because each journal has different guidelines and they have to be followed to the T. Proofreading, checking for errors, editing, plagiarism check goes without saying. And nowadays, many of the journals expect you to do a prior check before submitting. Of course, they will do it on their own as part of their job, but they expect that you complete your plagiarism check and then only submit. Submission can be as an attachment to an email, or maybe on the website, you may have to submit it online. Either way, submissions are all online now, either email or by through the website. I would like to cover these topics. Why should we publish? If my why is very clear, then I know how to work with passion on my research. Why am I publishing? Why am I doing all this? Is it just for that API score? Is it to get a promotion? Is it for visibility and I want to build up a reputation as a researcher? What is the need? Where to publish and how to find a best fit for my article? And what is this indexing of journal all about? Why do we say it's indexed here and indexed there? And what is this impact factor? We know that it's a number, but what is it about? So understanding journal indexing, and why do academic papers why do they get rejected? Okay, let's not talk of rejection now. Why do they get accepted and how do they get accepted? So what goes into the review process? And there are different types of journals, which I think only if it is required, I would cover. But judging the quality of journal becomes very, very important. And then the challenges we face. I remember how, as Dr. Sunita Shirvalkar had mentioned, we didn't know how to publish 30 years back. We just sent something. And now I feel embarrassed to see my first publication. I wouldn't even open to read it. So why publish? Is your why strong enough? Any research that is published gives you credit in more than one ways. If it is for a PhD, you are doing it as a requirement. Or if it is for a promotion, you're doing it as a requirement. That doesn't make it very strong. But that gives you an edge over others when you are seeking funding for any minor research project or for a major research project or any kind of collaborative research. If you have publications to your in your CV, you have a very good chance of getting funding. So you need to show your credibility just by publication. So it is not the CV that is required. Your resume is not important, but the publication is. So how do you strengthen your CV with your publications? A lot of prestige, reputation, your image. Some publish for the satisfaction, for the joy of research. Because when you publish once, twice, thrice, then you start enjoying it and you find this process is not so difficult. And it's good to be it keeps you updated in your own field, and you are also doing something that you would love. either you are solving a problem or filling some gap that you have found in the research, or you're doing a service to the society. So it gives you a kind of achievement. So, and how do our journals get accepted? And I think if you have not faced a rejection so far in life, congratulations. You know the trick of the trade already. But if you have, like I have, then it can be very demotivating and you feel maybe I'm not good enough. It's not you. The paper can be improved. And what are people looking for in your paper? Imagine, put yourself in the place of an editor. You're sitting in an office, scanning through so many proposals, papers that are coming, maybe 50, 60 in a day, and you're looking at it. What is that which will catch the eye first? It's the novelty. If it's a new thing, something very interesting, it's likely to be shortlisted. A strong manuscript, like people say solid research. What is the solid research? Something that is good and technically sound, accurate, very clear, very simple, clear, concise. This is the key to a good, technically and a good manuscript. Original, previously unpublished work. So those who have already published once the same article, it's unethical to submit anywhere else unless you are translating that work and submitting, translating the same work where you give credit to the original author in some other language. Yes, it is permitted. But you would like to publish it as a first person, as the first author. So a good presentation, your work may be good, your research findings may be excellent, but if it is not presented very well, then it becomes difficult for the editor to shortlist. So the good presentation will, and if you have paid attention to minor details, see, while reading, the reader also can make out that you have paid attention to fine details and fine detailing, giving examples and small little things. Ethical rules that have been followed even in authorship. Now, what is this ethical rules in authorship? Very often in academic publishing, we tend to give somebody who has helped us in research, we tend to make them the co-author, not required. That's not really needed unless they have been your author and you decide in the beginning that you will jointly publish a paper. Otherwise, there's no requirement. I have seen people who have even added the head of the department or a senior colleague or somebody's name as a guest author. Sometimes it's a ghost author. Somebody who doesn't know, who has not paid any attention to your paper. There is no requirement and should not be. It's unethical to just add authorship. So be careful when you're take time to revise and check for correctness of language, grammar, your sentence formation. I need not say this because there are many of you attending today who are from the literature field. And I think you have an edge over others. Check and double check. Sometimes it is good to keep it, not submit it immediately, even if you are ready. And if you have a day more or 2 days more, you can take up your article and read it with a fresh pair of eyes. And you may refine it better. You can, it can be improvised in many other ways. Critically evaluate your own, even before you get somebody else to read it. Read it as if it's a different person reading. Put yourself in the place of a reader and see whether it's understood, whether it's in a logical sequence. You know, sometimes even this See, we may be good teachers, but not necessary that we are good authors or we can write good papers. It just comes with practice. Consider the reviewer's comments in case you have got a rejection, because very often papers may be accepted with minor revisions. They will say minor revisions and they will also tell you what those revisions are. And this is your plus point. Make full use of this, because these minor revisions, whatever suggestions come, should be accepted very, very positively, because that's helping you to improve. It's the comments that have come from an experienced person. Sometimes it may be accepted with major revisions. And if it is mentioned accepted, it means that you are allowed to submit it back to the same publisher, the same place, because they have accepted and they will allow you. They're just giving you one more chance. But sometimes they will just give the reviewer comments, which are the whatever, if it has been blind peer reviewed, the reviewer's comments are just attached in the mail. And they do not promise you that they will accept it for publication, where it gives you a chance to improve your paper and submit it somewhere else. That's possible. If they've not used the word accepted, you are free to send it somewhere else. So you can revise and resubmit to the same publisher. And if it's rejected, see how best you can improvise it. But do not get discouraged. Let's understand why, in case of rejection, it can also be going as in some other field. You can improvise it, or you can have different publication. Like there are different kinds of publications. For example, it's not only research papers, though research papers are most important. Review articles should not be underestimated, because a review article with a number of citations is like a mini database by itself. So we cannot ignore, but it should not be a review article, should not be one review after the other, just listing down one below the other. There has to be a little on input from the author. There has to be critical review. You can find out similarities, differences, critically evaluate the findings of different authors, the different findings, the different methods, the different viewpoints, the different approaches, the different designs that the same topic has been covered. There are so many things to evaluate with. Sometimes your paper is not, maybe it is not a full-fledged paper, but there is certainly enough to contribute. Then there are many journals who will accept it as a research note. So it may not be. So this is also a publication. Research note is also a publication and should not be underestimated. Just that it doesn't fit into the quantity. In case it is 8 pages that is required, maybe your research note is just 4 or 5 pages, or maybe shorter, but it is giving some significant contribution to the knowledge, in which case research notes are accepted. Books and chapters in books and conference papers. Letters to the editor cannot be ignored. Short communication. Many journals have a section where there is a short communication. If not letter to the editor, it is, but it is commenting on something, on some kind of, maybe some new. There are also data supplementary articles. Maybe you have, your publication is running into 16, 20 pages. And a journal is accepting just 12 pages, and you need to cut down on a lot of your content. And then what do you do with that remaining content? You can prepare supplementary article of that content, so that data need not be wasted. You also have data papers, which give a lot of data for somebody else to use. So the data papers need not have discussions, but you may have data sets. And a lot of this data sets can be presented, which is of value to other researchers. Finally, you're contributing your research in some way. There are also video papers where we are talking about. So now, earlier they used to say academic research, you would only read journal articles and do your survey, but not to ignore blogs, a lot of these supplementary articles that are published in journals. And citation score, H index, only research papers are considered. This, as a faculty member, you must understand, because you will, as you progress in research, you will have your score. Like in citation score means how many people have referred to your article, and then you get a H index as you progress, which is seen in your, even if you have your Google Scholar account, it just opens up and it will show you. But please remember that other publications may not hold good while deciding on the citation score and H index. So therefore, a lot of importance is to be given to research and review articles, but not to ignore any of the others, because all of them is going to be making a major contribution in some way or the other. So if your manuscript is strong, you have original work, you have thought of, you have different ideas, I think it is worth sending your paper in some form or the other. I have on the right-hand side just a sample, a page of a journal, a research paper. And while selecting, an editor will first read, or any reader for that matter, a reviewer, will first read the title. The title has to be catchy. And that's when it should create some kind of interest. Only then is the reviewer going to be reading, or any reader will read the abstract. If the abstract is interesting enough, they will move on to read further. Otherwise, most often it is title and abstract is what is really catching people's attention, the reader's attention to begin with. So if somebody has to cite your work, what is important? The title, abstract, and the keywords. Very often, review papers that come from faculty members in the beginning of the career, very often it is the same words that are used in the title, they are repeated as keywords. But why waste your space here? It's better to give related terms, synonyms, in such a way so that somebody is searching for this article should be able to come to your article. So any of the words that are used in keywords should not be repeated. It shouldn't be in the abstract or the title. I want to publishers, listing down publishers, and we are familiar at some point of time with all these publishers. I'm sure I give you a little time to go through these. We are caught up with UGC care list, and we really do not look at the publishers page. If in your domain there are articles coming from a certain publisher, from a certain journal, I think it is worth going through the website. It is worth it, because it will give you, you just put in your keyword, your domain subject, and look up what kind of articles will come up. So it could be, now there are people attending here are from various backgrounds. So I do not have an example to show you. There are, I think there are business studies, commerce, management, economics, literature, chemistry, marketing, and I am from textiles. So, you know, I cannot give you, so my presentation will be very general because all these publishers cover all these topics. If you go to the website, they may be covering at least nearly 30 areas, broad areas. And then within each of those areas, you may find your topic or your subject of interest. So the major publishers, each of them have their own websites, and you can explore and see who's the one who publishes most of your subjects, most articles in your subject domain. That will be one way of narrowing down. All these journals are indexed. All journals are indexed somewhere or the other. Now, what is this index? Just like when you enter the library, you have a library catalog, which lists down which are the books that are available on the shelf, which have been issued, or probably you have a library catalog which lists down. So indexing is nothing but listing down journals under different category subjects. So you may find a journal is listed in Scopus, listed in UGC Care, also listed in Crossref, also in Google Scholar. So the more that it is listed in, which means indexed in, the better the visibility. It is available for people to see. So it gets more viewership. So that's what it means. So you can have, while selecting journals, you can just check where is this journal indexed. The more 2-3 places, very good. But what happens is we are so bogged down with our, the CAS and that we only look at UGC Care list. But what happens with any of these indexing sites is if that journal is there in their list today, it may not be there after a few months. And in general, it is the month of June, July, that each of these indexing sites, they may review whether they want to have the journal in their list or do not want to have. Want to include it. Similarly, UGC Care lists are formed. So that is UGC Care is also a kind of catalog and an indexing site for journals. So you may find that you have submitted a journal in 2015 which got published, but it's not there now. Was it your fault? And that's what, as teachers, we worry about. So if I submit now, will it be there in future? So we'll talk about it. So I hope what is journal indexing understood. So you can look out for if your journal is indexed other than UGC Care into other places. Excellent, very good. Different types of journals. Some have limited access. Those are also called subscription based. Because if your institution has paid for the journal, then you have access to it. If your institution or university has subscribed, then you have access to it. So sometimes you can look out in your area of interest. There may be certain libraries, maybe you're not your own university library or your college library has a subscription, but there may be some other library which has a subscription. And librarians can be approached with a letter from your librarian, and you can access them from some other library. Nobody stops you from visiting libraries. You don't have to depend only on online, but also to get access to many of the subscription-based journals. Please do visit limited access and say, oh, this is to be paid. Many times it may be $38, 16 pounds. And like you see that amount and you're not comfortable with spending so much for an article. Look out for open access. Sometimes if you see subscription-based journals, what can be done is just take the DOI. DOI is the digital object identifier of that journal. It is a unique number given to that journal, which you can copy and keep somewhere. So later on, from some other area, maybe you can find this same journal from some other source. At least you've identified in your survey some journal that you can refer to at a later point of time. Then open access journals. This is our interest now because a lot of journals have become open access, particularly after the pandemic. There are more and more journals which have open access. Mandatory journals, which are not really listed anywhere, they are not indexed. And how will you know them? They all the time keep on calling for papers, asking you to pay 3,000, 3,500. So you need to pay that amount and get it published. And they are quick to publish. They promise that they will publish in 2 days, sometimes within a week. Please be careful of these journals because you may regret later. They may not earn you points at your promotion level or your your API level. Predatory journals, and how do you find which is a predatory? So instead of going looking for them, it's better to go in for either the limited access, where we'll go further. Let's talk of open access because that is more freely available now. Free access to published research. It gives you free access. It's available for all. And the content can be reused. Reused in the sense you can download the PDF with no restrictions. And very often it is with a CC license. CC license, Creative Commons license. It's good to become familiar with Creative Commons license. A C within a circle copyright. CC is Creative Commons license, which gives you access to use images, graphs, diagrams, pictures, textual content to download for free and use it in your research. But you will need to give credit to whoever has published it online. Also, you will need to check what kind of license it has, because within Creative Commons, there are 6 types of licenses. I will not go into the details of the license because it is easily seen on you can just Google search Creative Commons and you will get the information. What kind of information can be reused as is, what can be information can be modified and used for your research paper, or how can it be used? So these are licenses you must be familiar with. There are different types of open access journals. Gold open access, green open access. Then there is a hybrid open access. Bronze open access. These are different kinds of accesses. And now the access, gold open access gives you the freedom to use any Creative Commons content, download it for free, use it as is without modifying or without changing, giving credit to the one who has contributed. Now, very often, if we want to publish our paper in a gold open access, if it has a sponsor, like a university sponsored, or it has been sponsored by a society or an institute, then you may not have to pay. You'll have to look out for such journals. But many gold open access journals, you may have to pay an author fee. Because otherwise, who will, it is not subscription based. They are just collecting your article and making it freely available to the public. But how will they recover the cost of publishing? They have to recover it somewhere. So they will take it either from the author, or they have to recover it from the one who is searching. So that's how it will become subscription based open access. So open access also, gold open access can be subscription based or where you have to pay. But sometimes, for example, society funded journals, you may not have to pay, and you'll have to look at these journals a little closely by going to their website. That needs a lot of time, but it is one-time work. You don't have to do it maybe every time, but sometimes even if you've devoted 2-3 hours just to become familiar with journals and shortlisting journals in your area of specialization, it is worth it. Green open access will keep your journal. See, in gold open access, there is no guarantee that they will keep it archived. But green open access, they will archive these journals. Your article will be available, archived for a long, long time. In fact, green open access, you will find journals where publications between 1900 and 2000 have also been archived. So if you want some historical data, it is good to go to green open access. If you want your data to be archived permanently, you can select a green open access. But otherwise, gold open access is good enough, because very often when we survey literature, we don't go back into time unless our subject requires it. We generally look for recent publications, maybe last 3 years, what has been published, or maybe last 5 years. So gold open access is good enough. Then there is a hybrid open access. When I say hybrid, maybe the first 2 years, they may be charging a fee. And maybe the third year, they don't stop charging. Then it becomes free and it has a Creative Commons access. So anybody can access it. So it's something like that. I'll give you an example of hybrid open access, just like what happens to our movies. When our movies are released in the theater, you have to pay a high fee and go and see it. Say after 2 months, it is then available on some other platform, on the TV. So that is the kind of hybrid access that I'm talking about. Okay. Bronze open access is less used, and I would not really advise you look in for gold open access as far as possible. This is my suggestion. To find the right fit in which open access journal should I submit, and how do I submit? It is good, as I said, it is good to identify publishers who publish a lot in your area of specialization. So when you go to a publisher, for example, I've just put these as examples. Not that I'm promoting these publishers, but these are quite well-known publishers. Use a journal finder. So when you go to Elsevier and go to their website, the first thing, find a journal. You will see journal finder, or it may be called journal suggestion, or journal finder, or find journal, find the right fit, or something like that. No, I'm sorry. Sometimes it is also called manuscript matcher, as in the case of Web of Science. Web of Science is a company under Clarivate. It's analytics, and that has a lot of publications. In fact, it's like an umbrella, and I'll talk a little more about it in the next So when you Google search journal finder, manuscript matcher, or journal suggester, you will come across on the website. um, I will talk about this in the next slide, but let me give an example of Web of Science. It has a core collection, Web of Science core collection. It has 4 different areas. The most important and large area is Emerging Science Citation Index. A lot of journals are listed under this, indexed under this. Then there is Science Citation, and the Science Citation Index, SCI, people call it, but now, since the last, I think recently, they have now called it Science Citation Index, and it is expanded. It's expanded to more number of areas of science. Then there is Social Science Citation Index. And there is also Arts and Humanities Citation Index. So they have divided the core areas or core themes, subjects under these different areas. So wherever, if you are a literature person, you would definitely, or economics person, you would go to AHCI. Or if you are a social science, anthropology person, you may have to go to Social Science Citation Index. So all journals in Web of Science may not have an impact factor. So don't go only by impact factor. Actually, impact factor is different for different journals, and all journals have a rank in a category. So now this, all journals having a rank, if you give impact factor to different journals and list them down according to the rank they have, highest to the lowest, there may be some journals which do not have an impact factor, but they are still listed. So it's called quartile positioning, and this is not the position, this is artificial intelligence, and it is used more by the publishers. They are watching what are the researchers downloading, what are they searching for, which articles are being cited, which are most frequently downloaded. All this is being, it's artificial intelligence that's made use of. Accordingly, they get a immediacy index. Immediacy index is as soon as you publish, how early is it getting cited? So this is under the watchful eyes of the publisher. It's not for us, but it is good to know what is happening. There's also a eigen factor, which they keep track of. The publishers keep a track of. How many papers are being downloaded, in which area, which subject. For example, I'm giving a vague example, nanotechnology. So if they find that that subject is being searched on the web, and many people are downloading those articles, journals which carry nanotechnology subject get a eigen factor. That's what it is. So it is how fast it gets cited and how many times it gets cited. So both are being monitored. And accordingly, this is the reason why you will find some journals are added to the list of UGC care, and why some of them are taken out. So it is artificial intelligence which is doing this. UGC is not against us who have published as teachers. They are not against it is these factors which therefore explain why journals come and are they are not listed anymore in UGC care. If anybody has any question on this, you can still stop me, otherwise we can move ahead. Choosing your right. Yes, anybody has a question?
Ma'am, there already are a couple of questions in the chat box. So should we take them at the end or would you like to address them right now?
I can address them right now also, because if it's related to the slide, we need not come back.
Okay, then Brianna, can you please read out the questions in the chat box so that ma'am can answer?
Sure, ma'am. Just give me a minute.
Yes.
So, should the host go ahead or should I take the questions then?
And that's fine. Anybody can do that. That's fine.
Okay, okay. So, there is a question that says that, ma'am, I have done the poster presentation on my research topic. Can this be converted into a research article?
Yes. Yes. Any presentation can be published, but you will need to declare to the publisher when you're submitting that this was presented as a poster in such a conference. That's it. So if the editor is willing to publish it, they will. And there will be a little note, maybe a footnote, which says this paper was published. Please do go ahead and submit it. And if one editor rejects, try the next journal. So shortlist your journals and keep and try each journal.
Okay, ma'am. So I think I can take the next question, which says that at times we hesitate to think about publishing our research work from the renowned publishing house. What suggestion you will give to overcome this hesitation?
I think hesitation is we always feel our paper is not perfect. It's not up to the mark. Every researcher has this. And as teachers, we are always, however good we are, we feel as a researcher, I'm not very good. Or as a writer, I'm not very good. And my language is not good. This is the feeling that we have. It's just a matter of taking opinion from a expert. The best is to send it for peer review. Just send the paper to peer review the way it is without doing anything. You will get certain remarks. Use that to the best advantage and modify your paper and improve it. Send it back again to them or send it to some other journal. So in free, without incurring any cost, you will be getting reviewer comments. Make full use of it. Okay, so I'll move on. So this was a slide. This slide was particularly to explain why journals are included and suddenly get excluded from the UGC care. Or
ma'am, if I may, I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's one more question from Rekha Bhatia. How to select a journal based on impact factor or rank?
I would say there are many other things other than impact factor and rank, and I'm coming to that. Okay, the next slide.
Okay.
Choosing a journal. The first thing that you would do is try to publish in any one of these. Just as homework today, if you can shortlist some journals which are related to your subject, and how to do that, I will just show you. So SCI, science, if you are related to science subjects, it will be science. But if it is related to science, for example, pollution control, environment, ecology, marine science, any such, it may be not under SCI, it may be under SCI expanded. Social science, Scopus, ESI, that is expanded social science, or UGC care. And Anna University has developed an annexure, which people don't really see. In fact, they keep track with what UGC care is listing. And Anna University has an annexure on their website, and it's supposed to be very useful. I did not personally use it, but many have told me that it is worth going through that website. So your area of specialization, your research work in your area, when you go to any of the journal website and just put in your area of interest, there will be, when you, of course, you have to create a profile. Sometimes, there is a login and password. And if you create an author profile or a researcher profile, it adds value. Your subject area, in your subject area and your topic, your intended audience, who do you want? There are journals, I must mention here, there are journals which specifically publish undergraduate research. And many times we are really not aware of it. And that's why we don't push our students to publish. In the process of encouraging your students to publish, there's a lot that we come to know, and as we are guiding them, we learn a lot about publishing. Reputation of the journal. Many times we have heard about this journal, which is run by a reputed publisher. So these are the main points. And when you're shortlisting, scope of the journal is prime importance. Most desk rejections happen because the journal article does not fit into the scope of the journal. The first thing that the article is sent back, rejected, this we cannot, it's beyond the scope. And we never look at the journal scope when we are submitting. At least in so many years of my career, I never bothered to look at the scope of the journal. But it should have been. I learned the hard way. Journal impact factor. We go so much by the impact factor that we forget that there are many other important things that are more important than the impact factor. And we have this myth, higher the impact factor, better the journal. But let me tell you, each subject, the impact factor will vary. There are many examples that I can give you. For example, if it is the impact factor is, and made a note somewhere to, for example, between 4 and 5 in management studies or business management, maybe impact factor between 4 and 5 may be considered high. But subjects like oncology, medical sciences, they have impact factor of 40, 50, 60. High impact factor because medical science progresses so fast and there's a lot many people doing research. So it doesn't mean in your subject, high impact factor will be different. If it is an economics subject, the impact factor, high impact factor will be. So it's better you see that list. When you go to the publisher's website and key in your subject area, and it will list down different journals under that subject. And you will see the impact factors. You will also know which are the open access journals, which are open access and which are not. Sometimes if it is green open access, also there is an indication. Also look out for number of issues in a year, because if you want your publishing to be happening fast, then you cannot go in for a journal which is annual or once in 6 months. You will have to wait a long time for your article to come. Instead, you will have to find a journal which has 12 issues. At least there is scope of getting it published after 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. The hope is still there. So number of issues also must be looked into. It's not just impact factor. Also look at the publishing style and format. The format changes. Many times when the article is rejected, it comes back and you improvise it and you send it to some other journal, but the format is totally different. Maybe they have a different kind of format, a different kind of referencing style. If you have seen the reference list, some journals want it in alphabetical order, but some journals want it the way you have cited in your paper. So it is numbered 1, 2, 3. so you will have to know what is their publishing style. So author guidelines are very, very important when you're submitting and when you're resubmitting to some other place. Then the type of articles that are published, because each type of article, when I'm saying type of article, very often there are certain journals who look for, innovation. They all the time, they're publishing articles which bring new innovations. There are some articles which are problem solving kind of, the approach is to solve problems. That's the focus area. Some into what change has come about. So the approach of each journal is slightly different. So if it's as you're searching in your literature survey, you will find journals which are similar to your work. Try to understand these different approaches. Then there are the number of words, because one journal will allow you to have it in 12 pages. The other journal says only 8 pages. So you'll need to compress it still further, or number of words. So all these are important things. If you have a lot of data, your paper is large, then you'll have to kind of, let go of articles which say 8 pages, because how much can you compress? And you want to give all your data and you want to your discussion. How much can you cut down on discussion? That's also important. So another is when you're submitting to a journal, go to previous issues and have a look. Other tables, figures, the quality of images. See, sometimes they're not of good quality. They're kind of pixelated, because the way you send them, they just publish. But if it is a good quality journal, they will ask you in a specific way, send us JPG images, send us a clear high resolution image, or they will tell you the resolution, and they will make sure that the quality of the images that you give are good. So that makes a difference in presentation. And I would put ranking later. Okay, so do not give so much importance only to impact factor. It is also other things, because you don't want to wait for 6 months and 1 year for your article to be published. You wanted it faster. So then you'll have to look, see issues, format, all these are equally important.
So ma'am, before we move on to the next slide, there's a question. What is the difference between SCI and SCIE?
SCIE is expanded. Science will be more kind of pure science. I'll tell you the exact definition, maybe in the exact difference, maybe I'll be able to come back to you when I, tomorrow in the chat box. Can you look out for it? Okay, but
also
expanded is related to science, other fields. You have metallurgy, you have computer science, you have environmental science. All science subjects are clubbed together, but there may be a related field which also comes under science. For example, textiles. I specialize in textiles. This will come under, not under pure science, SCI, it may come under SCIE. This is an example that I can give you right offhand.
Also, ma'am, there's one more question which goes, ma'am, how do we know the credibility of the journal, even if it has DOI and has a high impact factor?
Oh, it has a DOI and high impact factor. Yes, it is a good quality journal. It is a good quality. So don't go only by the impact factor. I think, when you search for impact factor in journals in your field, You may get a list of journals by seeing and you can select the journals, particularly Web of Science. When you go to Web of Science, create your profile, and please do create, even if you are from the arts field, it is worth, because they also have they cater to a lot of subjects. So first thing is to create a profile and your ORCID ID as a researcher ID. And then you will be able to get in, because it will not tell you a lot of details to anybody who comes to the website. So if you create a profile, you will have access to a lot more information. So please go to the Web of Science, and under that you will get all these different areas. This is the most prestigious of all. Then you have Scopus and UGC Care. And in UGC Care also you have Group 1 and Group 2. So you have open access also listed. So you need to develop a little strategy. Also consult people, consult your seniors, your teachers, and also see how they review, and try to understand how the review process happens, which I'm going to be explaining today. So,
ma'am, what is the difference between the Group 1 and Group 2 journals under UGCK?
I will give you, I think, to the end of this. Okay.
Okay.
I have judging the quality of the journal. When you're looking for the quality, you are looking at, we have listed down a lot of well-known publishers, but there are so many other publishers out there who are willing to and inviting you to publish. Can you see this light blue area? Other publishers.
Yes.
We don't know. We really don't know. And that becomes very tricky for us to decide how credible they are. So indexing is one little, at least we know it is indexed by somebody, then we know it is okay. It is catalogued by somebody. It's not just any journal, because predatory journals are not indexed. Impact factor is another. Impact just tells you in the last 2 years. Means if you want the impact factor of a journal today, you will get it of 2021, not of 2022. And in 2021, it was calculated on basis of the prior 2 years and taken as an average. So the impact factor that you will get is based on how many articles were cited from how many journals in the year 2019 and 20. That is calculated in 21. And that is what is available for you today. Okay? So it is based on last 2 years, previous years. Also, judging the quality of the journal by the editors. When you go to the website of publishers, you know who's the editor. He has some standing. You also have the editorial board. And nowadays, it's not, you have the research matrix, which I'll show you what it is all about, research matrix. But the editorial board may be professors of various universities. You know, there is a credibility. Credibility comes with the name of the institution that they belong to. You have a professor who's reviewing your paper, isn't it credible? You also have, so this is also something that you will look for. And research matrix, you will also know how prestigious the journal is, the cost, the speed of publishing, and the visibility. All these you will know when you go to the journal finder when you're trying to publish. But most frequently, I'm asked a question, when do I start looking for a journal for publication? Most often what we do is we complete our article and now look for publishing. Whereas if we have, as of last year, 12,534 journals in 250 disciplines, 236 scientific categories, and 1.7 billion cited references, and so many million articles, where do we go searching? So it's best to select a journal that is widely read in your field. It's your topic. You will come to know as you are doing the literature survey. That's the time when you can shortlist the journals. You will know who is publishing articles which are similar, which are generating interest, where you have searched. So journal should be in wide circulation. So how will you know it is in wide circulation? It will be indexed. Indexed not by just one, but 2, 3, maybe by cross-ref also, by Scopus, by UGC Care. If it is shortlisted, all this is there on the publisher website, where it is indexed, or the journal website. It is indexed in, it will be there on the front. It will be very visible. You may not have to search too much where it is indexed, because that is telling you how wide is the circulation. One tip that I need to tell you, you don't have to stick to your subject domain itself. Multidisciplinary research is the key today. So there are many multidisciplinary research journals which may not have a very high impact factor, but they are in wide circulation. So if they are in wide circulation, it is visible to more number of people. And that's what will get you the citations. So only then you are likely to attract attention and get somebody to cite. So I think from the starting of your literature survey, you should start, where will I publish? Where can I find a journal to publish? I think that's the best. So you become familiar with their style of publication. So when you want to find the right fit, now you have shortlisted. Say, for example, you have opened your profile in Web of Science. You have gone to science index journals, or your science expanded science journals, and you have shortlisted 5 journals. I just suppose you will do that as a homework. And how do you find the right fit for your article? So when you open Journal Finder, for example, I just took this very quickly, Journal Finder, Elsevier's website, and I just put my area of safety and health at work. You know, I've just put that topic, and you try to find journals. So there will be a list of journals, and with the same name, I get a journal. And then it tells me the site score. It tells me the impact factor. Can you see this? Site score, it's like a graph. See, the score has increased over the years. This may have been initially 10 years back, how it has improved. And this may be 2021 or whatever. So the improvement in the site score, the impact factor may not be very high, but for this particular subject, it could be high. So don't go by impact factor, same for every subject. It will vary. Approximate rate, acceptance rate, even that is given on the web, on the, you will see it on the, in the details given. So this journal, which is named Safety and Health at Work, has an acceptance rate of 9%. It just means that 91% are rejected. Difficult. So I think you'll have to select a journal which will accept at least 40-50%, a higher percentage, because you may or may not stand a chance unless it is extraordinary research. But unless you want to take a chance and submit. The time for the first decision is 5 weeks. Are you prepared to wait for that? If no, let go of this journal. Then the time taken for publication, 23 weeks. Are you prepared to wait for 2 years? Otherwise, just forget about this. So are you getting what I'm trying to say? When you're trying to get the right fit, go to Journal Finder, Manuscript Matcher, or any such on the website of a journal, and consider the ISSN number, the impact factor, check whether it is peer reviewed. It has to be peer reviewed. And see the focus of the journal. The focus of the journal, what I meant was the approaches. Some want kind of, just case study kind of researchers. Some want action research. Some are into problem solving. I mentioned that earlier. So focus and approach of the journal you will judge when you go through earlier issues. Orientation and approach mean the same. Means for what are the journal focusing on? And the time for processing, acceptance rate, and the cost will also be given. Is the cost given here? I do not see that. I think it's only when you put in your article and upload it, it will tell you what the cost is. Probably. It depends on the number of pages. But this is what you will need to consider while selecting your journal. When you submit a journal, either as an attachment as an email or along with a cover letter, or you're just uploading it on the website of that journal. In the publishing office of every journal company, there is a handling editor. Handling editor need not be your subject expert. All papers, he's the first person, she is the first person who opens to see the mails that have come in the last 24 hours, or when the office opens, what has come since the previous evening, and goes through each email or goes through each submission and checks whether it has to be sent for editorial review. The editorial review, now here you have a board, there may be different editors, depending on what your subject is. There are reviewers for one kind of subject. For example, there is reviewers for chemistry, physical chemistry, there are reviewers for organic chemistry. So there are different reviewers, and the handling editor will send this to the concerned editorial board. But sometimes desk rejection is the first thing that we as teachers fear. What if my article gets rejected? When will it get rejected? If it is not up to the mark, no clarity, or looks vague, abstract is not clear. So it can get desk rejected at this stage, a new submission. Otherwise, it will be sent to a concerned editorial reviewer. And then there is also, now these reviewers are in-house reviewers, but they will also have external peer reviewers who will also, so there will be at least a minimum of 3 reviewers. Finally, a decision is taken. And here you may have the editor-in-chief who takes a decision. And the editor-in-chief may have also has the ability to decide whether it requires any minimal revisions. So quite possible he will take a second opinion of an editorial board. He will send it to our editorial board and say, are any minor revisions required? These reviewers have passed it. And then only will send it for acceptance. And if they find that some reviewer has mentioned some little minor revisions, it will be sent back to you and you will revise it and resubmit again. When you resubmit, you don't go back to the starting point. It will be whatever is resubmitted, you submit it back, it goes back to the editorial decision maker. So the first quality check is the most scariest for us, desk rejection. So we have to ensure that it goes for peer review. So review paper will be assessed on submission, whether it has value or no. Research papers are more welcome than as compared to review papers, because you have something to contribute to. Any question here? You can unmute and ask also. No need to type also.
No, ma'am, there are currently
Okay.
no questions here in the chat box for this slide.
Let's go into the publishing house. We have authors.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, tell me.
I had a question to ask. Like, suppose we have a paper that we presented in a seminar, but the paper was not published by the organizers. So can we still put up that paper for publication in a journal?
Definitely. Definitely you can, but you will have to mention, just like the earlier question who said she has presented a poster, can I publish? Yes, you can, but you will have to write in your cover letter that this paper was presented on such a day at such a conference organized by, give all the details and send.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Vice versa. If you have already published a paper and not presented it anywhere, you can still write to the editor, I would like to present, because this is still your work. It is up your responsibility to publicize your work. So if presenting at conferences is the only one way of making it known to the world. So it's a good, you have an audience of 200, 300 people attending, and they're listening to you, what you have done and what new you found. Please, so that also is possible. Already published and you want to present it. But look at your copyright. You have signed a copyright, in which case you will have to write to the editor that this journal, your journal has published this article and I would like to present it. So take permission, because you've already transferred your copyright to that publisher. Therefore, you need to take permission whether you can. If no copyright form has been signed by you, then you are allowed to present. But in API, that is not considered. Your presentation, you have specific marks for publishing and presenting. So you cannot repeat it. So see where you can put that. Okay, we are already inside the editorial office.
Hello, ma'am. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
Ma'am, to continue with the same point, earlier, like somewhere around in 2004 and 5, like we used to do the presentation, and there was like we never had this question of publishing it. So what about those papers? Like
those papers,
we did the research work at that time, we did the presentation, and now we wish to publish them. So what can we do for such papers? Because like the committee, the colleges or the organizations where we have done the presentation, they may be like the committee is not existing now. So how can we go with such kind of presentation work for publishing?
See, you have earlier research done. First, check how valid it is in today's time. Because it should be valid right now, today. It will get published only after a year. So there is always a chance that you update that work. I have students who have done work during their graduation time as a project, college project, and they replicated that again.
Absolutely, ma'am. Yes.
And then they compared what happened 5 years ago and what
Yes.
happened now. They
Yes.
replicated that survey and compared. So it became like a time series test.
Okay.
You know? So
Okay.
make
Okay.
it up
Thank you,
to
ma'am.
date.
Thank you so much.
Update it and then publish.
Sure, ma'am.
Authors
Thank you.
will register online or send your paper, and then it goes through a preliminary review, as I talked in the earlier slide, but this diagram will tell you clearly why this is scary. If we have crossed the desk rejection and gone for peer review, we stand a chance. So what we fear most is rejecting at this. And people often get demotivated and they get disappointed. My paper didn't get through. But please submit to some other journal. Maybe their office, you will not face a desk rejection. Improvise it, get it read by some experts, and improve on the paper and submit it. So peer review process, double peer review. What is double peer review? When it is sent from this desk to the peer reviewer, your name is omitted. Only the title, abstract, keywords, and the rest of the paper core, but your identity is protected. So the peer reviewer doesn't know who you are. You also do not know. You also do not know who the reviewer is. So this is double blind. Okay. So the peer reviewers, at least 3 peer reviewers, will send it finally for final decision to the editor-in-chief or the editorial board. They may have an editorial board who will also have different kind of different subjects, different boards. So the editorial decision is taken and a second opinion may be taken. There may be a second round of review possible. So then it is blind review because it has come, the paper has come from here. So this editors do not know who you are. You do not know who the peer reviewer is. And you do not know who the editor is. So it is actually everywhere there is a blind spot. So that's like a triple blind review. Okay. So this double blind and triple blind, you will understand by this diagram. So you do not know the reviewer or the editor. The editor also does not know who you are. It has come, the paper has come without your name. It is still hidden by this desk people who are working over here. Okay, then the editorial decision is taken whether to reject or accept. Many times they will reject it. And that's why that journal I showed you earlier, journal finder, 9% only is accepted. Imagine 91% papers have gone out. So here you will have to be paying an article processing charge, maybe. And then it goes for editing, layout, final check, etc. Have you understood? This is the process of publishing. If you have understood it, then you know why we put our name and affiliation on a different page when we are submitting, and the title, abstract, keywords, and the rest of the paper on another page. It's just for the peer review process. And it's good to go through peer review process because it's unbiased. But things are changing now. Things are changing now. Now it is open review. In the present times, people want an open review. The reviewer knows who you are and you know who the reviewer is. And the reviewer's comments are also published along with your paper. That's what is recent now. I'll come to that a little later. Any questions on this process of publishing?
Ma'am, we do have a question in chat box. One person has asked, ma'am, is it okay if Group 1 journal doesn't have DOI?
Yes, perfectly okay. If there's no DOI, you must be having the URL. That's good enough. You should have a way of finding that journal when you Google search. So either DOI or URL.
Ma'am, there's one more question. It says, in some instances where funding is not given by college or the agency, the processing fee is too high, even though the paper is accepted and therefore have to leave it. That's where predatory journals gain. This is a question by Geeta G.
Okay. If you are sure it is not a predatory journal and it is a good quality journal and you're very keen to publish it, look out for people who do funding. This is where the gap is. We are not aware of who gives funds for publishing. There are agencies who encourage people, and there are they have funds, they have allocated funds for research, for conducting research, and allocated funds for publishing, which we do not come to know. So if you are on the lookout who is giving funds, you can also write to the editor. Also, I must mention, for researchers from India and South Africa, we are considered underprivileged or countries, there is a discount given. When you write to the editor that this is from India, it works both ways. There is also a kind of bias which is unwritten. I shouldn't be saying this on a national platform, but there is some kind of bias. You will find less number of papers being published, and we stand as at a disadvantage. If you see a lot of good journals having articles, you will see a lot of Indian authors. They are all affiliated to some foreign university or they have a guide somewhere. So it's rather, I don't have any statistics to authenticate what I am saying, but in revealing that you are from India has an advantage. If you are asking for a discount or funds for publishing, and then it's also a disadvantage. Plagiarism. I'm sure you are aware of Authenticate. Urkund, I think, has changed the name. I forget the new name for it. They have recently changed the name. Turnitin, all these are where you can check for plagiarism. You send your article, you can give it to your library. The library does it. They may charge a little, but it gives you a report and say how much it is plagiarized. A simple Grammarly software also does it. But I've gone in for the Grammarly version because most of the clients who send me papers for review, I need to check it, but it may not be such a very good, very strong search for, but at least it helps in reducing the percentage of similarity. Also take help of a lot of course, this session is not for online. There are a number of online tools and resources. I have written a chapter on it, which is soon being published, on how to use online tools for research. But one of this is think, check, and submit. It's free online. And if you can make use of it also to find journals where to publish, it helps you check also, just like Grammarly does. Otherwise, there are editorial services. Wherever you submit, they also have a service. You pay a little fee and they have their own staff who will do the checking, formatting, and all other services before submission. So why do articles get rejected? Plagiarism need not be only copy pasted or showing similarity. There are many other ways. There are ways that they get to know whether the article has been plagiarized. Let me give you one example of a paper. This is a faculty paper which came to me for review. I found there was no connection at a certain point between the methodology used and the finding. And then as I read further, I found more of it. And then when I got back to the client who sent me, they said, yes, this is part of a large study and I have only taken a small part of it. So when he admitted it, I could realize that when you have a large chunk of research and you want to break it up into 2-3 papers, you will find that there is some loss of connection and the reader or the reviewer will realize it and you may not. So that also becomes difficult, and you may have a common introduction for all the 3. You cannot separate out. So therefore, it's better to have, instead of bits and pieces, have good, solid research presented in a very concise, clear, crisp way. That is better. If it doesn't fit into the scope of the journal, this is the first desk rejection letter that will come. If it's rejected at the desk, they don't have any other chance or reason to give you. They will say, sorry, it doesn't fit into our scope. But don't get discouraged with this. This is just one way of showing you some other. So you can always improvise, send it to some other journal. But next time, do look at the scope of the journal, which I, as a teacher, I did not look. I did not bother to look at the scope. And that's where I faltered and fell prey to predatory journals. So let it not happen to you. Format is not as per guidelines. So stick to the T. If they have said MLA style, APA style of referencing, you will, even at the starting point where you're searching, surveying literature, you will have to start following that kind of guideline, because you may be using some software like Mendeley or EndNote, such software referencing and citation tools. So better you know right in the beginning. Title is too long. 15 words is the maximum that you can have in a thesis. And the same goes for a paper, I'm sure. 13 words, 15 words maximum. If it is vague, doesn't tell you what the work is about, then it may face a rejection at the title stage itself from the desk. Abstract, do not highlight. See, while writing the abstract, if you do not have key findings, what happens is you tend to fill up that abstract with introduction and the methodology. And last one sentence will be finding. That's not sufficient. So make sure abstract has key findings. Something you don't have to give in percentages and details, but what exactly, just broad conclusion. Another mistake is, often I have seen papers that come for review, abstract and conclusion, there's hardly any difference. It's as if, it's copy pasted again. So make sure that it is not similar. Content looks shallow, no depth and clarity, inappropriate, insufficient. Of course, sample too small, even that can be a reason. Sometimes it is, interpretation of the results. This can also happen. So these are on the right-hand side, what can be done. I think you have understood. Shouldn't be more than 16 words. Cover letter. Always have a cover letter, whether it is asked for or not. Cover letter is a covering letter, what we say. Now, this letter is very important, and we do not realize how important it is. It is the only way that you are convincing the editor, please send this for peer review. At the desk, you're telling them, please let it go for peer review, because it contains, this paper contains this. So what is most important of your findings? You will have to, this is your selling point. This is your tool for sales. This is your marketing. This is your advertising, this cover letter. So give importance to it. Don't put it in a hurry. Most often people think, no, it is not so important. This letter is telling why this paper is important and why should the editor publish it. So take advantage of reviewers' comments if it gets rejected. So that gives you for full free, it's giving you an opportunity to improvise without having to pay for editing. Challenges faced by researchers. I think I'm overshooting time, so I'll go a little fast and this may be my last slide. Finding suitable journal for publication, we have talked about. Each journal has a different format, guidelines, style of referencing. So if you identify in the beginning of your research, it is better. Time taken to decide acceptance and rejection, that will be better for you. Within 5 days, 1 week, if you know, it's better. Bias in gender, religion, institution, country, if this is not proven, I mentioned this. And ethics, please remember, copyright issues. You can use Creative Commons content freely, no problem. But if it is copyright, you require permissions. Keep improving without feeling frustrated. Let it excite you. It's your baby. See how you can promote as a researcher. First thing today, when you get back after create your profile on your ORCID ID, ORCID, ORCID ID. This is like a Aadhaar card for researchers. This is what I see, because every researcher has an ID, just like your paper has DOI, you as a researcher have ID. And with this ID, some journals will ask for this to be quoted in your paper, along with your affiliation and your designation. So this ID, create your profile today. One advantage of having the ORCID ID is automatically you will get recognized by Web of Science. And then once you have your ORCID ID, it will not be difficult for you to get into any of these who promote your research, because your papers can be uploaded in ProQuest, Google Scholar, for ResearchGate, Academia Edu, LinkedIn, Publons. All these are ways of promoting. It's like your social media, especially for researchers, right? So follow bloggers related to your field. They give wonderful remarks, and don't ignore them. Think creatively, innovative. Innovative research is what is required, because all the time they want something novel. Tips for academic researching, and I mean, if I'm repeating something, I will omit. Aim should be to publish international reach. So look at where editorial board, when you see if it has an international panel, look for it not only to UGC, rather Indian publishers. Yeah, I think I have covered these points. And when you're using referencing, tomorrow you're doing about MLA style. So if you're using any of these referencing tools to organize your work, you create your library, own library, all your references you can download, categorize it, find, store, share, create, whether it's Mendeley, Zotero, whichever you're comfortable with. Now, in the changing world, PhD thesis is encouraged to be published as a book. Although on Shodh Ganga, you may find your thesis which has been uploaded, but writing it as a book requires a little different approach. It's possible to translate articles and publish. So if you're eager to publish, please do. Then ethics, anything related to any of your research related to plant and animal species, you will need permissions. ethical clearance is required in the beginning. Later on, nobody gives you. For my research, I must mention to you the final round of my patent. I was asked to take a clearance from biodiversity. I had to take certification only because I had used the term cotton waste. Just because of the use of that term, I had to take certification. Biodiversity Association of India. So take permissions. When you apply to a research ethics committee, they will tell you what to do. So the increasing trend is for open access systems, publishing, and as you're searching. So open review, because the review is also published. Whatever the reviewer's comments are published along with the name and designation. So it's open review. So what comments the reviewer has made, it is visible to everybody. Each journal has a DOI, unique number. And if it doesn't, you have the URL, which will help you get to all your institution ranking, accreditation are linked to the citation index. And therefore, professionals are also being introduced by their H index. So how many times your article has been cited by others is also monitored. How many times your publishing is monitored. So don't hesitate to cite your colleagues' work. Now that you have a collaboration between two colleges, find researchers on LinkedIn or other platforms or Facebook or any platforms. Find researchers who are researching in the same field as yours. Connect with them and try to use their work to your advantage. You can cite them. Multidisciplinary work is always, and collaborative work is what is encouraged now. So that's adds value. But still, journals will have their importance in academic publishing. Even after publishing your thesis as a book or anything, it will still be journals which will be very, very, very important. So look for quality control, quality output, journal publication. Good. And you have your improved citation. So you'll have to do the marketing yourself. Nobody else is going to market for you. So where will you index? So have your ORCID ID, create your profiles in publishers, with publishers, also academia, edu, upload your papers once they are published, publicize your work, let people know. So you have to do the marketing yourself. So you are not only a teacher, researcher, author, but you are also a marketing person. So communicate your research, promote your research, create online presence and your academic profiles. That will help you and enjoy the process. It is 6:12 and I've exceeded 7 minutes of your time, but I think I answered some questions meanwhile. So
no worries, ma'am.
So this is for further queries anytime in future that you feel, oh, I should have asked. I have an open access.
Yes, ma'am. We have a question and answer session.
Yes,
Before
sure.
that, I'd like to thank you, ma'am. It was a very enlightening and informative session. I'm sure we all will carry your words forward with us. I will now hand it over to Aisha for the question and answer session. Everybody is requested to post their questions in the chat box.
Zara, we already have a few questions. So, ma'am, I would
Sure.
like to ask you those questions first.
Sure.
One person has asked from where to find recent topic for research.
Go to journals. You are going to be publishing in a journal. Go to recent journals, recent issues of journals in your field, your subject, journals. find out which they are and go to the latest issue. Then you can go backwards and find out which are the topics being researched and published, and make a list of it, list of subtopics. That is the way, because every research is nothing but building on something else. In fact, Einstein had said, you are standing on the shoulder of giants. People have already researched so much that we are just contributing a small little, very, very small to that research. So you're adding to research.
I hope that answered your question, ma'am. We have another question. When we use some common methods to do the experiments, write-up becomes similar to the earlier paper. Will this be under plagiarism?
No, it is very often you're following standards and methods. If it's standard methods, you don't have to describe that method. You can just give the standard. This was tested according to standard so and so, like American standards, international standards, whatever. You can give that number also. Don't have to repeat the entire. In your methodology, in your thesis, you do. But in a paper, not required. Standard equipment also. You can mention the equipment, name of the equipment, even the version you can mention. For example, I've used SPSS version 6, something like that. Or
Sorry to cut in. I request everybody to fill the feedback form. It's posted in the chat box.
that's important. Feedback is always important. And please give don't give everything positive. For today, become a reviewer, as if you're in the editorial office, and also tell the negative parts. What can be improved?
Ma'am, a last question. Due to some network issue, Purvi ma'am has missed the name of the free review platform. If you could please repeat it for her.
Review platform. What was that? Review? I didn't get the question.
Ma'am, I believe you mentioned some platform where they could take a review on the thesis that they're writing on the research topic to see if it's not plagiarized or something. So I guess ma'am is talking about that.
Okay, Grammarly is software. Then even some are, the free software does not give you the similarity so much. It's better the paid version will find more similarity. The free versions don't give you enough. So plagiarism, don't go for the free software. Instead, you might as well pay a small fee and go to the library and get it checked.
Yes, ma'am. I guess that's it. There are no more questions posted in the chat box. I'd now like to invite Geeta ma'am for the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, Suman ma'am, and this was a very enlightening session, and it has made me think seriously about the kind of research that I have been doing and we all as teachers have been doing. And this was an extremely brilliant and detailed presentation. And in fact, my principal has written to me that we should call you, we should invite you in our college for a more personal interaction with our staff, who could then, especially the unaided staff, who are not much into research, but she wants them also to start doing research. So thank you very much, ma'am, for this wonderful session. And I would also like to thank the principals of both the colleges for making themselves available for this session, the vice principals, the HODs, the IQAC coordinators. Thank you, everyone. And also thank you, faculty from Mumbai as well as across India who have joined us today. We had more than 100 participants this evening. a big thank you to our student body, the Public Speaking and Debating Society, as well as the Literary Society of SIWS College. Without their support, this would not have been possible, because these students are extremely tech savvy and they have handled the whole session brilliantly. Thank you to the technical team. Thank you, compares. And lastly, thank you to my dear friend and colleague Kirti for inviting Suman ma'am today for this absolutely brilliant session. Thank you so much.
One more thing, Geeta, I would like to mention Dr. Mala Pandurang's
Yes.
name. Yes. Dr. Mala Pandurang was the one who recommended Dr. Suman Munkur as one of the resource persons. Also, the speaker for tomorrow, Dr. Nilakshi Roy. And we are so happy that you all readily agreed. I must thank Dr. Mala Pandurang, Professor Dr. Mala Pandurang in absentia. Because of her, we could get such wonderful resource people. Thank you, Geeta, for always being there and arranging everything so smoothly. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry for I got a little less time, because when your message came in Manchester, I was so excited. HR college, and I've heard about your colleges, but I have not ever visited.
Ma'am, this session was much more than our expectation, and we were only thinking about CAS and NAC, and we really need to think beyond that. That is what the session has motivated us to think. So
Visibility is the key.
Absolutely.
We are not marketing our research.
True.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, participants. Please, I request you all to fill up the feedback form, not just for today, but also for tomorrow. Thank you, everyone. So do not leave. We will be leaving the session on for some more time till everybody has filled the feedback form and has exited the meeting. Thank you.
Ma'am, can you on your registration link, because I haven't registered your.
Okay, we'll post it. Are you on the WhatsApp group?
Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am.
No. Okay, Brianna, can you please post the registration link over here?
Yes, ma'am. Just give me a second. I'll do that.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Right.
Your feedback is like a peer review for me. I do not know you, but it is a peer review. So please give your true feedback and help us improve.
And this is not just a double peer reviewed, but 100 times peer reviewed feedback, because we had more than 110 participants this evening. And of course, ma'am, your session does not need any feedback. There were so many questions coming in right from the beginning, and this session was very, very, very nice.
Ma'am, just a thing, since we already closed registration, should I reopen it today?
Yes, Brianna, please open them.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Suman ma'am, there's a request from some people. They want your PPT. They feel it would be great and a helping hand for them if you could share your PPT with them.
I'll make it a little abridged because it is too heavy a file. I've put
Sure. We will
have shared the registration.
We'll post it in the WhatsApp group.
Yes. I'm not in the WhatsApp group, so I'm.
Yes, ma'am. You could share it with Geeta ma'am and she can maybe post it in the WhatsApp group.
Sure.
Yeah, I have Kirti ma'am's email.
Yes, ma'am. Also, I've shared the registration link, so anybody who is not yet registered can join.
Have you opened the link, Brianna?
Yes, ma'am. Done.
Okay. All right.
Participants who are asking to join the WhatsApp group, you have to register first. So please make sure you register.
Yes, once you register, you will be added to the group.
Once again, I'd like to request for everyone to fill the feedback form. It would be great for us.
Post it again.
Once again, we would like to thank Dr. Suman Moonkar on behalf of one and all present here for such an informative session, ma'am. It was an absolute honor to have you here with us today. Thank you everyone present here for the day 1 of the workshop, and we hope to see you tomorrow for day 2 of the workshop.
Yeah, there is.
Okay, I'll just check.
Yeah, in the chat box, someone has written, I have registered but not been added to the group. So at the end of the day, we will add everyone to the group.
Yes, I think a few registered just a few minutes before the session. So that is why it took some time. We'll be done.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Can we leave the meeting?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
I got busy filling up registration for tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. My number in WhatsApp, please. If you can add. I thank the principals. I thank the organizers for having me. Absolutely delighted. So many researchers, and I'm so happy to interact. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was an honor to have you.
Thank you for joining us,
much,
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome. Dr. Shirvarkar, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a wonderful session.